Thank you, Elijah. Appreciate that. Okay, all of our board members here except for one, and she's excused because she's out of town. There are a couple addendum items which include additional information, human resource report, media report, and community relations update, a request for PEA to open negotiations for the 2022-2023 school year. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum.
I move that we approve the agenda with the addendum.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? There's none. This motion passed. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes. The March 8th, 2022 minutes will be rolled into the May board meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the March 15th, 2022 regular board meeting as presented. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the agenda, or approve those minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the agenda is the approval of consent agenda, which includes authorizing the payment of claims, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the amended human resource activity. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion is passed. Next, they have Courtney Fisher will provide the April recognitions.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Howell, Ms. Johnson, and student representatives, wherever you are in the crowd. Thank you for being here tonight. As you can see, we packed the house tonight, which means we have so much to celebrate in our district. So it's just great. So thank you all for being here tonight. Tonight, we're going to recognize several individuals who, through their actions, support and embody our district's mission to think more, learn more, and be more together. First up, we're going to celebrate our Cake Award winners for the month of April. Our district believes that a safe, supportive, and caring and respectful environment is critical to student learning. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month Award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from our district from October through May. The Cake Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others. In addition to being recognized here with you tonight at the monthly board meeting, the recipients also receive a baking kit to make cupcakes at home with their families and special treats delivered to their classrooms to be enjoyed with and among their peers. We think that's a really important part of this award, to be celebrated among their peers. Nominations for the Cake Award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the nominee's behavior and are approved by the school's principal. So first up, we have our Elementary Learner of the Month Award. Please help me welcome Landon Moon, and Mr. Medinger, his teacher, and Mrs. Critchbaum. Is Mrs. Critchbaum here also? She is. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll let them make their way. So Landon is a fourth grader at Lewis and Clark Elementary School. And this is a kind of a special award because this is the first time we've had a learner nominated by two teachers or counselors, two people in your school. So that's pretty special, Landon. I think that really signifies who you are as a learner. So I'll just read you a little bit about what they said about you, okay? You want to stand up here so our board members can? Well, you can just right. Perfect. There you go. Then you're not hiding behind me. Ms. Critchbaum is the school counselor at Lewis and Clark Elementary School, and in her nomination letter, she wrote, Landon Moon displays excellent character, kindness, great attitude, and encouragement on a daily basis. One example of this is a time when another learner was struggling and having a difficult time. Landon offered to help that learner and showed amazing patience and kindness. When he was done, I went to him and gave him a good choice ticket, which qualifies him for a drawing at the end of the week. Landon said he didn't want that ticket because he just wanted to help, and that was enough for him. He's a great kid. Wow, Landon, that's pretty cool. Mr. Medic. Oh, that was yours? Yes. Oh, my gosh. Okay. I don't know how that happened. I apologize. So that was from Mr. Medinger, and Mrs. Critchbaum wrote, in his nomination letter, nomination letter, I have known Landon Moon since first grade. I recognized him immediately because of his leadership and empathy skills. He never hesitates to help others and takes the lead to accomplish tasks and goals. Landon has an inner intuition to point out strengths in others, especially if they are struggling. He interacts with all learners and treats them with kindness and respect. It does not matter what job or task needs to be done. He consistently has a growth mindset, which brings out the positive qualities in others. One of many examples of Landon's character is his work ethic with the green recycling team. The duties can get dirty and not a lot of fun. However, that does not stop him from completing the job and helping his teammates stay on task. His positive modeling and encouragement to learners to do their very best. In work and play, Landon consistently encourages others to be honest and kind. He takes the time to understand the feelings of others and immediately becomes a friend with learners who feel lonely. So Landon, in recognition of your extraordinary behavior and character, we have this certificate for you. And then one of your teacher can pick up your Cupcake Kid Award. And then we also, courtesy of McDonald's, who partners with us on this award, you're going to get a gift certificate, and you each will receive a gift certificate courtesy of McDonald's. And then your library is going to receive a $50 donation in your name, and you're going to get to help choose those books. And you can sign them, and when somebody checks out that book, they will know that you were the Cake Award winner in April of 2022. So congratulations. And if you will go say, let our board members congratulate you, and you as well.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
Nice job.
Hey, Jean.
Good job.
Good.
How are you? Thanks.
Congratulations, Landon. Okay, now we have our secondary learner of the month awardee, Saffron French, and her teacher, Mr. Kyler Miller. Would you join me at the podium, please? Thank you so much for being here. So Saffron is in the 8th grade at Irving Middle School, and she was nominated by her teacher, Mr. Miller. In his nomination letter, Mr. Miller wrote, Saffron was told by her friend and classmate that she wanted some new shoes, and Saffron felt that this other student needed and deserved a new pair of shoes that she could be proud of. Saffron has expressed that this particular student is also an amazing student and wanted her to recognize that in herself. Saffron used her own funds to gift the student a gift card for the other student to purchase a new pair of Nike shoes for her to wear to school. Saffron is one of the most caring and kind individuals that I have come in contact with. She is a fantastic student and an even better person, as demonstrated by this act. She is more deserving than anyone I can think of for this award. Well, that's pretty special. I bet your friend was really happy. Yeah, did she get some cool shoes? So you are awarded the certificate, and also like the last awardee, you will be recognized among your peers with a cupcake kit and treat for your peers. And then you will each receive a gift card from our partner in this award, McDonald's, and you will also receive a $50 donation to your library in your name, and you can help choose those books and sign those books for people to check out. So congratulations. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks.
Okay, next up we have our April Employee of the Month Award, or our PIES Award. The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. The award is for employees who go above and beyond in that effort, and this award is sponsored by our educational partners, Lookout Credit Union. So tonight, we have kind of a double recognition here. We are going to invite Mr. Travis Bell and Ms. Tanya Wilkes up to the podium with me, please. Travis, Tanya. So Travis knew he was here for one reason, but now he's going to find out the second reason he's here. So tonight we're going to recognize Travis Bell as April's PIES Award recipient. Mr. Bell is Highland High School's assistant principal and athletic director. Travis received the Idaho Athletic Administrative Association Athletic Director of the Year for 2022 for Idaho. He's been awarded this distinguished honor another time in 2019, and so to have that back-to-back, within 3 years is pretty spectacular. He will be receiving a $50 gift card from our educational partner for this award, Lookout Credit Union. And Miss Wilkes is receiving a $20 gift card for her nomination. And I invited Tanya because she wanted to share a couple of words about Travis herself. So, Tanya, I'll give you the podium.
I need to learn from Courtney to make the print bigger, so sorry about that.
I have it written down if you want to see.
That's okay. I like to
You have
fumble
notes?
through it, yeah. First off, I'd like to share out at the Idaho Athletic Association, Administrators Association, Travis was recognized, and this is what was in the pamphlet there. Travis Bell started his career in education 27 years ago at Highland High School, teaching Spanish, which I could use you sometimes on that. Spanish for his first 17 years at Highland. During his time at Highland, Bell was assistant wrestling coach for 4 years before becoming the head wrestling coach for a position he held for 17 years, and we still laugh at the stories from them. Travis has also been an assistant football coach for 19 years at both the junior varsity and varsity levels. He became the athletic director vice principal at Highland 10 years ago. Don't add up the numbers to see how old he is. He's old. Travis has, Travis has been married to his wife, Denise, for 30 years. They have 4 children and 5 grandchildren, and I think Denise needs this award as well. She's put a lot of, sacrifice in not spending time with Travis. I also, had talked to Courtney. I'd like, to give Travis the Pies Award from School District 25 because Travis has gone above and beyond for Highland athletics and bringing state events to Pocatello community. Travis has directed successfully state wrestling at Holt Arena, if you've ever experienced that. It's amazing. And state cross country, even during COVID when they frantically was looking for a spot, Travis stepped up to the plate. And then state speech. Might have interrupted the school day, but it well worth it. Travis is always there to support his fellow ADs and community. Travis tears up talking about his athletes and coaches because he cares so much, and he's always working to help each other or help each program equally. Travis has a work ethic that is beyond measure. He starts in June working to get corporate sponsors to support all programs and their needs. He also shares all of his resources with other ADs to ensure support for all athletes in the district. When I started my position, my goal was to do more together, and Travis has been foundational in helping work towards creating that culture of more together. Each month we share out in a book study, sometimes comical, but good, and Travis always brings insight and experience to the conversation, and we're very lucky to have a dedicated athletic director like Travis Bell. I promise to keep this short because we both hate to be in front of crowds, and I cannot celebrate you enough, and I could probably talk for hours, but I'll keep it at this. Thank you, Travis, for all your work.
Travis, here is your gift card.
We have an AD meeting on Thursday.
Here's that. And then if you will say hello to our board members. Thank you so much. Tanya, you too.
Congratulations, Travis. Yeah.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I also invited representatives from each high school's cheer team to join us tonight. And Pocatello High School, their cheer coach had some personal issues, and so we're going to roll their recognition over to next month. But we do have representatives here from Century High School and also Highland High School. So will you all just please stand up? Highland's in the back. Give us a wave back there, Highland. So, as recently stated in an article published in the Idaho State Journal, the future for the Pocatello area cheer teams is bright. So joining us tonight from Century is Coach Megan Brockett and her team captains. Will you introduce who you brought with you?
It's my sister, Brandy Schulke, Captain Anna Zayn, Captain Kimberly Peterson, Captain Kaylee Proctor, and Captain Ellie Luker. Abby Short is playing a softball game right now, but she's already.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. So Century earned a place at state chair this year at the competition and earned 3rd place in 4A co-ed show and 2nd place in 4A co-ed stunt group. So congratulations to that honor. That's wonderful. And then we also have Highland High School coach Jessica Gallup, who has coached Highland's cheer team for more than a decade. Miss Gallup, will you please share who joined you this evening?
Could we have them come around?
Yeah, will you come around? So, yeah. And you can just come on up here. We're going to make you walk up here anyway. You might as well come now.
Okay, these are my two captains, Cashlyn Holm and Marissa Gallup.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. So Highland High School's cheerleading team claimed this year's 5A state cheer championship, sweeping all 4 competition categories and earning recognition for having the highest cumulative grade point average of all competing teams. I think that's the most fantastic of all. The Highland cheer team took home first place in every category in the competition, including show cheer, sideline, pom, and stunt group. To top that off, the team also won the state academic title for having a cumulative GPA of 3.8, which is phenomenal. So, congratulations. We knew we were going to have a full house tonight, so we invited just representatives of Highland Cheer and Century Cheer and Pokey Cheer to come, but we have certificates for all of your members, and if you'll all come up now so that our board can congratulate you in person, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your success this season.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I know.
Congratulations. It's so good to see you. Congratulations. Congratulations. It's awesome. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
See some backflips.
Yeah.
You should just stay
I don't know
standing.
why they don't.
Ms. Kerr,
like you're running
is
for-
Mr. Smith here with us yet? Luke is? Okay.
Okay, just stay there.
No, Luke?
Yeah.
No Luke yet? Okay, so I'll save that. We'll give him a little bit more time, and I'll do the others first. Okay. So we have some individual awards to give tonight, but we also had one of the best years in recent memory for all 3 of our high school debate teams. We've shared some accomplishments for our coaches with you earlier this year, but I invited representatives from each team to be here just to celebrate their fantastic accomplishments this year. So we'll do the same thing. I'll introduce your coach, and then I'll have your coach tell us who's with them tonight. So from Pocatello High School speech and debate team, I'd like to introduce Coach Marcy Kerr. And please introduce who you brought with you
I'm
tonight.
going to stand over here so I can see
Okay.
the humans. So we have our debate president, Allison Buchanan, our speech captain, Cadence Williams, secretary, Brooklyn Jorgensen, and debate captain, Daniel Wolf. Also on the varsity team, we have Hannah Campfin, Neelam Gurung, Mary Swore, Elijah Buchanan. You're killing me. James Finley. I have 2 Jameses, so I have to do last names. James Finley, Amara Saunders, James Goodmanson, and Walker Kerr, and then volunteer assistant coach is my husband, Corey Kerr, and the Campfin parents also do a lot of our support feeding humans.
Wonderful. So we'll share just a little bit about their accomplishments as a team. Pokey attended 7 invitational tournaments. They placed 3rd overall at 5 invitational and 2nd overall at 1 tournament. The team earned 120 individual awards this year. State debate, Pokey qualified 13 students. 3 were octo finalists, 2 were quarter finalists, 2 were semifinalists, and Mary Swore was a finalist in congressional debate. Pokey placed 3rd overall at state debate in their category. For state speech, Pokey qualified 18 students. 8 students were semifinalists. Allison Buchanan was a finalist in the program Oral Interpretation. Elijah Buchanan took 2nd place in Communication Analysis. Alex Cupier is the state champion in Salesmanship Speaking, and Pokey took 2nd overall at state speech. For the National Speech and Debate Association, you thought I was done. Pokey took 3rd overall and received national recognition as the leading chapter in recognition of our competitive growth. At the tournament, there were 407 entries. 47 students from Eastern Idaho qualified to nationals. Of that number, more than a third are from Pocatello-Chubbuck School District 25. That's just fantastic. We will attend the national tournament in Louisville, Kentucky, the second week of June. There will be 1,500 schools with 6,000 competitors, so we wish them a lot of luck. At the national tournament, Ms. Kerr will also be awarded her second coaching diamond. This Diamond Coach Award reflects excellence and longevity in the activity and is awarded based on points and years accrued. So congratulations to all your success. Now, Century High School, I would like to introduce Marie Milovanovic.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Will you please introduce who you brought with you tonight?
I sure will. This is my captain of debate and policy, Jonathan Stonebeck, his partner, Carson Craner, my assistant coach, Zachariah Mitchell, under their last names. This is another policy person. She was varsity, novice, and she moved herself quickly up the ranks. This is Lydia. Go ahead, Marco, stand up. This is mine. Marco, he did Congress. Dylan, go ahead, Gabe. This is my speech captain, Annalise.
I know, it puts you on the spot, doesn't it?
Okay, that's Matthew. He's a speech person. That's Ciara Jackson. She's a debate person. Adam, Kara, and Sienna.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. So, Century brought home sweepstakes in the following tournaments. 2nd place at the Jungle Invitational, 3rd place at the Gate City Invitational, 2nd place at the Black Snake Invitational, 3rd place at the Rigby Invitational, 3rd place at District Speech, 2nd place at District Debate, and runner-up at State Debate. So we congratulate you on all of your success. Thank you so much for being here. And last but certainly not least, we have Highland High School Speech and Debate, and we have Coach Jet Smith here. And please introduce who you brought with you tonight.
Hi everyone, I teach communication, so you think I'd be better at it, so I don't have as many of my students here tonight, but I do have a couple. So I have senior Sully Brimhall with me, and then I also have 2 sophomores, one of my duo teams, Jonathan Bean and Isaac Whaley. So they're here with me tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to be with us here tonight. So let me share with you just some of their accomplishments this year. They were #1 ranked school in Idaho for National Speech and Debate Association's Merit Society, with 4 students in Idaho's top 10 merit point earners. This is the largest academic honor society in the world. Highland won the state championship tournament for the first time as a school in 47 years. Highland is ranked 67th out of 2,795 active member schools nationwide. They wanted to do a senior shout out. Cadence Andrus, our team president, was the top debater as the Cesar Cicero tournament in Utah out of over 450 students from nearly 30 schools. Henry Johnston, the debate president, made it to the final round of both state speech and state debate as a junior and a senior across 5 different events: public forum debate, extemporaneous speaking, Lincoln Douglas debate, panel discussion, and impromptu speaking. Caitlin Vreeland received 3 bids to qualify in original oratory to the National Individual Event Tournament of Champions, the most exclusive and difficult speech competition in the country. And Sully Brimhall placed 9th in the nation last year in duo interpretation with his partner, Megan Bedell, auto-qualifying to this year's national tournament, a feat only accomplished by one other partnership in Highlands history. Andrea, I will not tell me, Savaljevic, made it to the semi-round of congressional debate at the Idaho State Debate Championship in his first and only year of competing as a foreign exchange student. Their tournament placements included 3rd place at Thunderville, 2nd place at Gate City and the Rigby Trojan Classic, 1st place at the Skyline Grizzly Growl and the Idaho Mountain River National Qualifying Tournament, District Speech and Debate Champions, State Debate Champions and State Speech Runner-Ups in the large school division, and 4 students to the national tournament this June in Louisville, Kentucky, the highest number of students in at least the past 8 years. So please join me in congratulating these 3 outstanding teams and representative of our district. And I invite you all at this time to please come let our board congratulate you on everything. Thank you so much.
I know, right? Awesome. Hey, how are you? Congratulations. Awesome job. Good job. Congratulations. Congratulations. Awesome job. Good job. Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations. I like your shirt. Congratulations. Great job, Coach. Thank you.
Hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome job, Coach. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Awesome job. Congratulations. Awesome. Congratulations. Awesome job. I like your guys' outfits. Very nice. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations.
And with that concludes our recognitions for the month. I think it was well worth it, and thank you all for being here.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you get to do that. I have to do that? Oh boy.
Okay.
No.
We'll just tell him good job. Okay, I do have one more. I apologize.
Yeah.
So we were trying to give one other student a little bit of time. He is competing in a tennis match right now. So these kids are very, very accomplished and very involved. So joining me, I'd like to invite Allison Buchanan to the podium. And Luke Smith is the one competing. These are 2 students from Pocatello High School, and they were both recently named for, let me get it right, the National Speech and Debate Association All-American Academic Award. The Academic All-American Award recognizes high school students who have earned the degree of superior distinction, which is 750 points, completed at least 5 semesters of high school, demonstrated outstanding character and leadership, and earned a GPA of 3.7 out of a 4.0 scale, or its equivalent. For more than 141,000 student members of the NSDA, fewer than 1% of students earn the Academic All-American Award every year. Please join me in congratulating Luke and Allison for this prestigious academic award, and we have this certificate for you. Congratulations. And now we are done with the questions. Thank you.
So awesome. Wow.
Oh, I guess she's done. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is public and written comment on topics not pertinent to the agenda. Written comment was received and was included in the packet. I have no request for public comment, so we'll move on. Next on the agenda, do I need to say anything more about that? Okay. Okay, next on the agenda are student representative reports. And so we have, let me find my place here. Okay, Century High School, we have J.J. Anderson and Dominic.
All right. So JJ couldn't be here because she is at a tennis match, but she wanted to send her love as always. Good evening, members of the board and Superintendent Howell. My name is Dominic Samana, and today I'm going to fill you in on what's been going on at Century. But first, I'd like to introduce you to our next year's co-student body presidents, Samantha Morgan and Marissa Allen. They will be the new faces of Century next year. In our athletic department, our track team has been doing really well. They have a meet this Friday at ISU's Davis Field, and all of you are more than welcome to come. It's going to be 31 schools there, so all day meet. So if you have any time Friday, come on through. Softball will be playing their first district game this Friday against Preston, and they are currently playing Pocatello as we speak. Our tennis team has been killing it these past couple of weeks, and they will be playing Highland this Saturday. In other news, ICCU just agreed to give us a new screen for our scoreboard out on the football field. So I think that's pretty cool. In academic department, we just passed our SAT day and PSAT day, which we had exceptional attendance, exceptional attendance, greater than we've ever had before. And we even had a barbecue after school for all the students that went. And in a new article posted by U.S. News, they have ranked Century 4th traditional school in the state and 1st in Eastern Idaho. Also, 53% of our students are enrolled in AP classes, which blew my absolute socks off. And last but not least, our activities. This past week, we had our first assembly since homecoming, and it was a huge success. Caden Barr, one of our students with special needs, qualified for National Special Olympics, which is insane. So we had a little ceremony for him. He went around the gym with a huge torch, and it was really cool. He gave a speech to our entire student body, and it was breathtaking, to say the least. And finally, next Tuesday, we are hosting an event called Every 15 Minutes and having an assembly to accompany it. It is designed to spread awareness about impaired and distracted driving and what it can do to everyday people. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, Dominic. Appreciate that. Okay, next, Tennille Ward from Highland. She's not here. Okay, and we have Aubrey Larson from Pokey.
Good evening. My name is Aubrey Larson from Pocatello High School, and a couple things that have been going on. It's currently Spirit Week at our school. Last night we had a talent show to help raise money for the ELF project, which is kind of like a Make-A-Wish, but for adults. Our goal was to bring a local cancer patient home, a local cancer patient's children home for Mother's Day. Today we had our blood drive, and that was a success. We had lots of attendance. Tomorrow we're having a movie night on the front lawn, and we would love to invite Century and Highland to join us for that. It's at 8 p.m. We'd like to congratulate our boys basketball team who took second at state, and Riley Farringer from Pocatello was elected Region 5-6 president at the Student Council State Conference last month. Act 1, which is our theater department, is currently rehearsing for our spring melodrama, and we'd like to invite all of you to that. It's running May 11th through the 14th. Marilyn Martinez from FCCLA, we'd like to congratulate her for getting gold at FCCLA state competition and making it to nationals. We'd also like to congratulate Waverly Green for getting silver in her star event and making it to nationals and getting gold in her state event. We'd also like to congratulate Felicity Potter, who placed 3rd in her advanced Excel spreadsheets and qualifying for nationals for BPA, and Brooklyn Jorgensen, who placed 3rd in extemporaneous speech and qualifying for nationals, who was a finalist in presentation management individual, and Evelyn Dance, who was a finalist in advanced interview skills and prepared speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey. Good things happening. That's cool. Okay, you guys are welcome to stick around if you want. You're gonna head out. Okay.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, Ms. Courtney Fisher will provide a media report and community relations update.
Okay. Included in your addendum this evening is the media and communications report for April of 2022. I always submit links for all of the media that you might be interested, whether it's local, regional, statewide, or national. Some of those articles of interest: kindergarten registration has been going strong. Our Milk and Educator Awards, which I hope to bring before you to recognize next month, that has gotten a lot of media traction. The Mayor's Million Minute Marathon winners were announced with more than 1 million minutes read in our school district. Most minutes total was awarded to Wilcox Elementary School with 157,900 minutes. They received a $500 contribution for their media center, courtesy of Mayor Blatt of Pocatello. And then the highest percentage of participation was awarded to Gate City Elementary School. They are always right there on the winner's podium for this event. They had 100% participation for this event, meaning every kid read some minutes. They received $250 contribution to the school library. So we want to thank Mayor Blad and Lookout Credit Union for this partnership. It's a really important way to encourage kids to read in K through 5. The final legislation news, which included the approval of the K-12 budget, which includes funding for full-day kindergarten, optional. And Pocatello School District 25 we announced our summer food program. And so just to share those dates with you, we will be serving meals this summer, weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., beginning June 6th through August 12th. And the only day that the meals aren't served is that July 4th holiday. Our live stream for board meetings, our regular board meeting on March 15th, we had 144 views compared to 140 in February. That was just right around the same. April 12th work session, we had 71 views compared to 47 in February. Social media, we continue to incrementally grow all of our Facebook audiences. Facebook continues to be our largest with nearly 11,000 followers. We also continue to reach audiences on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our website for the last 28 days, I'm going to dive into this a little bit because this number surprised me, but we had 77,000 users over the last 28 days, which was an increase of 77.1% over the past month, which is huge. 142,000 sessions versus 62,000 over the last month, so that's also a huge increase. 71.4% are accessing the mobile phones from the mobile phones, so I cannot wait for our new website to launch because it's going to improve the experience for those 71% of our district constituents who are trying to find information for the school district on their phones right now. It's not a very great experience, and we're really excited to improve that. We recorded a new podcast. It's been several months since we've been able to do that. We have grown and had to take up some office space that we were using for our podcast studio, and so we just decided it was kind of put on hold, but now we're just flying by the seat of our pants and recording wherever we can because we think it's a really important endeavor where we can have, it's a longer form of communication where we have issues. The last one we did was talking about the five-year athletic outdoor facilities plan. I invited Tanya Wilkes to have a conversation with me. It's about 15 minutes long. I've included a link if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, but it's a great resource to send people if they continue to have questions about some of our projects that might not be able to just answer with a press release or a news story. It's just a really great format for us to be able to share information and tell control our narrative. We also would like to feature a series with a conversation with each of you. So I will be reaching out to all of our board members to schedule those sessions. We will keep them short. It's just an opportunity for our constituents to get to know our board members, get to know kind of the faces behind the decision making, and just share some of your philosophies and goals for the district. As far as community relations, for the School District 25 Education Foundation, we announced earlier this month the Terry Perkins Educational Scholarship recipients. We are now giving away 7 $2,000 renewable scholarships for 1 year, so this is quite a feat and an accomplishment for our Ed Foundation. We're really proud of it. It was our 4th annual, and like I said, we award $2,000 to help fund recipients post-high school education at an accredited 2-year, 4-year, or vocational school. It doesn't just apply to Idaho schools. They can go anywhere and use those funds to help pay for their school. Recipients are eligible to renew the scholarship for an additional year if requirements are met. They have to keep a certain grade point average, and those scholarships may be deferred for up to 2 years. With gratitude to the Perkins family for this amazing gift that will continue helping students for decades to come, we are pleased to announce the following recipients for the 4th annual scholarship awards for the class of 2022 from Century High School: Tess Lambert and Jana Anderson, who you know as JJ. She's presented here before as a student representative. Highland High School: Adam Jones and Logan Rasmussen. New Horizon High School, this is a first for us to be able to award a scholarship to a New Horizon student, and that is Mariella Plancart. and Pocatello High School, Samuel Ernest, and Bailey Adams. I also wanted to draw your attention, I put a PDF in the addendum that's called It's More Than a Meal application. Part of our literacy funding and that funding for optional full-day kindergarten, if it's approved, will be dependent on some of our disadvantaged numbers that come from the free and reduced meal application. As you know, we haven't had to have families fill that out because lunch has been free for the past 2 years. So this is a challenge to get these numbers and this information so that it can be funded appropriately. So since we released this last week, we've had 400 hits on the website, which sounds really impressive. It's only moved the dial from 26.47% to 26.95. So we will continue to send reminders, and we're pushing this really at the schools. It's an important communication for us to get out. We've shared it on Facebook. We will continue to do that. We've added some incentives, as you'll see on the card, for families to fill that out. Last week when we first did it, Tanya Walton from Food Service said, you know, she got a really steady stream, and then just like most communications, it just kind of died down. So we'll stay on top of that. And then I wanted to draw your attention to one last thing. Educator Appreciation Week is coming up May 2nd through the 6th. We have a special surprise planned for all district employees that week. I'm not sure what day we're going to deliver it because the plans are still in the works, but by Friday, everybody will get a special surprise. We've also been working with Idaho State University's College of Education. They wanted to do something special for our school district, and so they are going to be starting deliveries next week. It's a 3-week process to deliver lunch from Cafe Rio to every single school and every single department in School District 25 to show their appreciation for not just the people who have gone through their program, but just to show support for education in general. I shared that schedule with you, and we invite you to attend as many, or at least one lunch. You can be fed for 3 weeks straight, lunch, Cafe Rio. I don't know, you can mix it up. But we are going to just do a standard notice for a quorum during those dates so that you can, at your leisure and as your schedule allows, attend any of those. Great opportunity for you to get in the schools and interact with some of the staff.
Cool.
Okay, any questions for me?
Yeah, 2 questions. So what was the uptick on the website hits? Kindergarten?
No, that was just for the free and reduced page.
Heather?
Oh, wait, you're talking about, I'm not sure. I'm going to dig into that. I just looked at that today and didn't really have a chance to go do a deeper dive into where those numbers were coming from.
Okay.
So it probably was attributed to kindergarten registration.
And then the other question I had on the free meals, so has it been determined that the meals are not free next year? Has that been decided? It has been. Okay, I just hadn't read that. Very good.
Yeah, the summer program will continue to be free for learners, aged birth to 18 years old.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Our committee meetings minutes will be rolled into May 17th, 2022 regular board meeting. Included in the packets are the following self-explanatory reports for public information: student enrollment report, student suspension report, and the Idaho General Fund revenue report. We will now move on to curriculum and instructions, school safety, and athletics. We will start with science textbook adoption presented by Chuck Warr.
Good evening. You have 2 memos in your board packet tonight, one for the elementary science adoption and the other for the 9th grade physical science. As we discussed last week at your work session, we're recommending for adoption mystery science for grades K through 5. You can see that parental feedback is included on the memo in your packet, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. The cost for this adoption is $31,174 for a 2-year subscription and $80,400 for the supply packs. So those are the materials that go along with the teaching of mystery science. The administration is also recommending for adoption Inspire Physical Science 2021 by McGraw-Hill for 9th grade physical science. Parental feedback is also included on that memo in your packet, and the cost of that adoption is $131,607. Both of those adoptions are well within the amount budgeted for this fiscal year, and you'll be asked to consider both of those for adoption later this evening under action items. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, next, Lori Craney will report on the following: Head Start Annual Report, Non-Federal Share Waiver Request and Program Update, 21st Century After School Program Update, Kindergarten Registration Update, and All-Day Kindergarten Program and Proposal.
It sounds really long, but I'm not going to be that long. How about it? For the Head Start, we have 143 students enrolled. 6 students did drop this past month. 5 of them moved and 1 opted out of the full-time in order to stay at a daycare. There were no students added. We were not adding at this point in the year. The attendance was up. We're at 86.03%, so that was great attendance. There were no resignations for personnel, but there were 4 people who were hired: 2 classroom assistants, a teacher assistant, and their 4th bus driver, which they've been working long and hard to get a 4th bus driver. So they were excited about that. So a few updates. The district is moving ahead with obtaining the new modular facilities. It's going to happen. I can see it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Cool. We met with the vendor, I believe, last week, picking out samples. We looked at samples for carpeting and the walls, the paint for the walls, and also it is getting really close. The vendor is expecting to deliver in early July. So we'll get the foundation up and going, and there's plans for that. I know that Jonathan Balls has been working really closely with them to make sure that this is going to happen. So we'll have a celebration, that's for sure.
It's been a long time coming.
It has been, yes. Yes, it has been. And it's going to be beautiful.
Cool.
It's going to be so fun to have that. In your packet, you will see the Head Start Annual Report, which they publish every year, and it's for the 2020-2021 year, and it's there for your review. Last week, Ms. Losmack provided you details on the non-federal share waiver, and you'll see the request in the packet there, and it's in the amount of $220,500 for a waiver of the non-federal share for the program year, the 21-22 program year. For the 21st Century Grant, they're operating through mid-May. They're planning their summer school, which will be to serve 80 to 100 learners at Green Acres from 8 to 5 for 8 days in June. They'll plan 4 of those days, which will be field trips that they'll go different places like the Idaho Falls Zoo, places that our learners haven't experienced. The Blackfoot Butterfly Emporium, they're checking that out, and some other places. On the other 4 days, they're going to be bringing experiences to those learners, and so the aquarium comes, Discovery Museum will be coming, and they're working out the details on all of those, but it should be a very rich program for our learners. We did receive word on the grant. It was not good news. We did not get the award for Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, Washington, and Ellis, but we are exploring some other options to keep those programs going at those sites because we firmly believe in what we can offer our learners after school.
Did they give you the reasoning on it?
You know, we have not received, they will, and they'll give us the feedback on that, and we have not received they'll give us the grant with the feedback there. We thought we had a great grant going, but, you know, they're very competitive, and, you know, some of it is the areas you serve, those kinds of things, so we will, they will be sending that out and providing that, so we can be using that as input when we write the grant again. So.
Yeah. One other quick question. So then on this Head Start, is that typical to ask for that waiver? And has that happened before in the past? And are you expect that's just a formality?
She does. Yeah, you know, I think so that that's really the in-kind that they're supposed to be getting for the non-federal share. And with a lot of the things that have been going on with not being able to have people in the buildings as often, because parents can come in, volunteer their time, and that contributes to in-kind. Some of the things that contribute to in-kind, but you know, we've seen a couple of years here with decreased enrollment. We've had fewer students there. Parents, had to wear masks. Parents have not been encouraged to be in there, and I think we'll probably continue to have a challenge, and we can talked to Ms. Losmack about it with, we're transporting our students there, and so a lot of times they would come, they would bring their child, they would stay. So we need to look at different ways probably, but it's very typical and for us to do that, to ask for the waiver.
Thank you.
And very typical for programs to be asking for that. Next, you'll see our kindergarten registration count. And so they compare it like, this is about a week into kindergarten registration, a little over that. We have 605 students that we say we've seen the whites of their eyes. So they've been to the schools. We have more than that that have completed online, but we're counting the number that have actually entered our schools to complete the registration process. I feel confident that our numbers will be up there. We usually get 70-some% of our, come in those first few days. We can't really compare to, last year was, the last couple years were atypical, so we had a few more in the year when maybe it was more typical, the 1920 year where they registered online, then they came into the building. So we're still encouraging. We've got lots of things in the works to encourage them to come and register so we can get some accurate numbers, but we haven't seen a real decline in our other grades, and so I anticipate that our kindergarten will those numbers will continue to grow. You'll note some of the ones that I'm always, kind of amazed at what happens with kindergarten registration. I compare to the 1920 year, last couple years, but a little bit different, but you'll see some increases at Chubbuck and at Green Acres and at Tyhee. I noticed the most increases there, especially like Tyhee. We hadn't seen that. We'd seen some declines there. So we'll keep watching, and we'll be having to make staffing adjustments accordingly. Okay. The next thing is the full-day kindergarten program, the memorandum that we went over it last week. It's again in your packet, and we're ready to move with a full-day program. We'll be bringing it under an act. It will come to you as an action item, and you'll be asked to consider it, the full-day program. We've been doing a lot of work in preparation so that we'll be ready for whatever it is that you decide. But we want to make a real quality program, if that's the way that the board directs us to go, that will really serve our community and serve our learners well and provide a strong foundation. So we appreciate that. All right.
Okay.
Questions?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, next we have
I'm actually doing the next three.
Sue Pettit to report on early graduation.
I'm going to do the next three, actually. Early graduation.
Okay.
So we have two early graduate requests. One is a junior graduating a year early, taking advantage of the early scholarship. And they'll be going to college in the fall. And then one who just got their paperwork in late and actually finished all their classes at the end of second try, and so requesting an early grad for that one. My second thing is our out-of-state and or overnight travel request. This is an out-of-state, not overnight. And we have a teacher at Pocatello High School that would like to take his physics students to Lagoon for the day, and they study all the physics of the rides at Lagoon, and they have projects they have to do for that, and so.
G-forces and everything.
Everything, yes. So having done that with eighth graders in California, I can tell you it is a fantastic learning environment, plus you get to ride the rides. But it's a lot of fun to do. And they have plenty of chaperones going to keep our chaperone ratio. Okay. And then last but not least, we have camp requests, and we have 3 camp requests going right now. Century Cheer Kids Clinic and a couple of girls basketball camps. They will be starting in May, June, and then the last one is in September, and they're just getting them pre-approved. So those will come for action for you guys. Okay. Do you have any questions on any of those?
I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next topic on the agenda is business operations will be presented by Jonathan Balls. He will be reporting on bid awards, business management software proposals, food service summer park program, state premium payment, and driver's education.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for your time this evening. So just a few items up for action for you this evening. Again, I'll go through them briefly. If you have any questions, please stop me and we can discuss them. First are some bids that we would like you to approve this evening. First up is the lighting, replacing all the lighting at Jefferson Elementary. We sent this bid application out to 9 vendors. We had 2 respond, but 1 was not complete and unresponsive. And so we would ask that you would approve a bid of $91,900 to Saunderson Electric, which is about $33,000 under what we had budgeted for this project.
That's all the lighting in the school?
That is all the lighting in the school.
Wow.
That is correct. Yep, this is, at least I know we did that last year, and it just really makes an impact on staff and learners. We do receive a little kickback from Idle Power regarding this, because these are all top-of-the-line LEDs and so forth. So it definitely is, it pays for itself very quickly. The next is some roofing over the gym at Highland High School, and then the entire roof at Lewis and Clark Elementary. We sent the bid out to 10 vendors. We received 2 back. And you can see those bid award amounts there. Our action item is that we ask that you approve the bid for roofing for $331,000 to Thomas D. Robinson Roofing, and that's approximately $17,300 over the estimated budget that we had there. The next is basically all of the bleachers of our middle school. We would like to be able to use this national cooperative purchase through Sourcewell. We've used this in the past. We feel comfortable, and this is the way we'd like to go. The new bleachers up at Highland High School are these hussy seating. That way we have a kind of a standard bleacher if we ever have to replace seats, as some do get damaged through PE or something like that. We have the parts there.
Rowdy students jumping.
Possibly there, yeah, as well. And so we feel very comfortable with this amount. It is a good amount, but it will definitely be able to set our middle school gyms up for a very, very long time in the future. These are the gyms that are Parks and Rec, and the community uses there. I will mention that these hussy seating, and we'll partner with it's called Norcon Industries out of Utah. They're actually the one that is doing the Holt Arena seating, and so it's a very, very well-known company as well. And so we get. Yes.
Are some of these bleachers in these middle schools original to the school?
Excellent question. I don't know that.
Okay. I was just
Superintendent?
No, they've been updated, but it's been quite some time. And as you can imagine, those mechanisms in and out.
Sure.
And students, those different chairs, kind of get them wobbling and so forth. But the originals, boy, those things are a lot.
But as I understand, sorry not to speak over you, but these are they're all in dire need of replacement. And these bleachers will be kind of the state of the art. They'll have guardrails up the aisles, obviously meeting all the ADA codes and so forth. And they'll even have the automatic retracting handrails, so they'll flip and then as they turn in. So they do very nice.
Are they electric?
They are.
Are they really?
They are.
Cool.
Yep. And then there you just plug in a little control mechanism to the side of it, and away they go.
So are these like the bleachers
That'll be better.
and the Palace?
Yeah, because you won't have people.
Correct. Palace and at Highland, for sure. So.
It's a good electrician's question.
Yeah. The next one, which I believe, yes, the last bid for this evening, is the removal of the Alameda Middle School track. And so we'll remove that track, we'll add sod, and then also we'll also put down the base and a 9-foot asphalt perimeter, which will be the outer lanes of a track, and asphalt that and rubber that. Again, we sent that to several vendors, 41 altogether. We had 3 responding back, and Superior Asphalt came in as low bid, $191,000, and that was approximately $9,000 less than what we had budgeted there. And I think we've discussed that. But any questions?
There was an exhaust system upgrade in there?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to hold. Thank you. I needed to hold that for next week.
Okay.
Next week, I think you'll have, if we come together as a board for some other meetings, correct?
Right, so under the calendar this evening, we are going to ask the board to come together, one for an executive session, because later Mrs. Meyer will present to you the letter from EPA to open negotiations.
Okay.
All right.
So we will have an opportunity to talk to the board, and it comes under labor contracts and negotiations, and so we would like to try to bring it together next week. With that, a special meeting as well. This particular item will need to get incorporated into the capital improvements project, or plan, excuse me, and then provide you an update as to how those expenditures have been going, as to how the difference in what we planned.
Correct.
So we can bring you current and then also put this ventilation bit on there as well. And so it may be hour-and-a-half meeting, but Renee will coordinate a time with you. Probably Wednesday we have student hearings, and so maybe Thursday, if that will work for you.
What time on Thursday, do you think?
I'm good anytime, but.
You don't want to do that on a Wednesday with the student hearings?
Well, the student hearings, we have 3 already, and so that could take us about 2 hours, a little around 2 hours. And so to put negotiations on there, since it's the first time too for 3 of our board members, we want to spend just a little more time with you. And then this update would probably only take 15 minutes.
Even 10.
Yeah, well, because you've heard it before, well, some of you have. So we'll just, do you have a conflict, Mr. Vitale, that we need to?
Only at noon time.
Okay.
I'm going to get a haircut at noon, so I need it.
I've got to get that done.
I got to get that haircut.
So, so I think it will be Mrs. Oliver and Ms. Clark that will have to coordinate a time because of their work schedules. And once we get that.
Are you thinking during the day? Is it?
Whenever you're.
Yeah, whenever is.
Except noon.
Not noon.
Except noon. I just have symphony all next week, so Thursday might be my best day.
Oh, Thursday's fine with me too.
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay.
So I'll just let everyone know to the board.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so perfect. Thank you for asking. I didn't know that was just kind of a late exclusion. So when you go to approve that, just, you just won't read the exhaust system.
I did make a note of that when we get to the action.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'll get more details next week on kind of how that
All right.
happened.
Is that in the welding shop?
It is. Oh, and it's great. We need to do it. It's
Yeah.
just, I just need to give you kind of the updated budget on that. Because this was not included in that budget that you approved. So that's what, we'll get an updated budget, and it's good to update that budget, especially for our new board members as well.
Okay.
So you can
Okay,
kind of see
so
where we
Jonathan, this
Yes.
track,
Yes.
is that for the removal and adding the track? It's for everything?
Correct.
Taking
Correct.
it out and putting it back?
And putting it back. It does not include, but your update will, this does not include the rubberization of that. But we're planning on doing that. We have another kind of sole source, he's called the Track Doctor. He's gonna do Irving, and if we can combine these two, if we can, we'll save some money that way. But yeah, this is just for the removal and putting back the asphalt in the beams.
Okay. Are they going to put soccer nets in there? Or, I mean, I understand they're going to try to make that a soccer field.
It is, yeah. So we'll definitely get some.
Eventually, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
That won't be in the project, though.
Not in this project, that'll be probably under Tanya's budget.
Okay.
Yeah, to do that.
All right,
But yes,
thank you.
definitely we will. do
Thank
that.
you.
Any more questions on bids? Okay. The next item I have is the business software recommendation. Again, at our work session last week, and kind of went in depth about this, replacing basically it's our main system from everything from employees, human resources, payroll, accounts payable, budget, everything there that we would like to move towards this cumulative product by Skyward. And you can see that recommendation there that we'd like to enter into contract with Skyward. Okay. Next. Yes, and I think Mrs. Fisher talked about food service. Again, this is an action item for you that we allow our food service program to offer summer food meals in the park. You can see we served almost 87,000 lunches last year. And so we would like to add, because of an extra vehicle, would like to add Hawthorne Park, bringing those proposed sites to 8 parks throughout our community. Again, those would begin Monday after the end of school, June 6th, and continue to August 12th, just taking a break for July 4th.
They're going to have enough people to run the program, Jonathan?
Excellent and very astute question. Yes, I sure hope so.
Okay.
Yes, we're having volunteers,
Okay.
and so
It'll be covered then.
Yes, that is the
Yeah.
plan. It should be covered. We'll make it happen. But yes, that's always, in today's environment, that is always the concern.
So when you say volunteers, you mean we'll have our existing
Correct.
food service associates?
Yes.
That was in the- when I
Right.
went today.
Yes, thank you.
Offered to continue their employment through this.
Correct, yes, so our employees will definitely be paid. Thank you for that. I think, was that an HR thing, volunteer? I think it was, yes.
They're not doing it for free.
They're correct. They're not going to do it for free. We will pay them. That's true. Yes, we will pay them, and
Good.
thank you. That's probably misword there. But anyway, again, the action item is that we can continue our food service program over the summer. Okay, the next is some good news for our employees. This legislative session, the legislature and with the governor approved or gave us money for $1,000 premium payment is the wording they'd like to call it. No, not a bonus, but essentially it is $1,000 premium payment for all full-time staff. And then for part-time staff, it would be a prorated amount. And so, since the board approves all payments, we need to have you authorize that. Again, we've already received the money. However, with the classified staff, we're short, and it's just the way that the state calculates a full-time employee. They look at employee is 2,080 hours. And of course, our full-time employees through the school year don't get those. And so we didn't get a full funding for our full-time school-only employees. But we feel that they, of course, need this premium payment as well. And so Mr. Smart calculated that we would need about $246,000 from the general fund to cover that. And we do have that in the budget, and as I'll talk later, just because of our good conservative budgeting from last year, that this is available. So again, we'd ask that you'd recommend this premium payment and to use the $246,000 from the general fund. Any questions on that?
What's an example of, I mean, just for my own, the difference between the full-time classified in the top versus Part-time. So you're saying because a part-time classified is only working September through June?
So let's even go, the bigger example is actually, and Mr. Smart, please jump in at any
Yeah, I mean,
time.
just- I mean-
But let's go full-time, just even like, full-time para, how
Okay.
that would. Or you
This,
come
this
here.
all relates to IC, ISCE, okay?
He wanted
More
to put this
accurate.
in the memo, and I asked him to.
I was, I had more information than the superintendent wanted to put in there. Now we're gonna cover it anyway.
Get
But-
Tubman, Renee.
But through IC, we have to report on everybody's salary and funding source.
Right.
And so contracted employees, they're easy. One teacher is one FTE on a contract. So they use that data to create the payment to us. So we have 700 FTE in teachers. They send us $700, 700 times 1,000, and that's easy. For classified staff, however, you have to report the number of hours and number of weeks that they work. And so for a parapro in our schools, which is the biggest group that we have, they work 181 days and 6.5 hours a day. We consider them full-time. They work just basically the same number of hours as a teacher in the schools. We consider them full-time. However, the state only reflects their FTE as 0.56 because the number of hours, so 181 times 6.5 divided by 2,080, which they consider full-time, 2,080 equals 260 work days, 8 hours a day. And so you do that division, so we're only getting a little over half an FTE for every one of those parapros that we consider full-time. Did that make sense?
More or less.
Sort of. And so,
Oversight of the state? I mean, doesn't that seem like a,
and as we get into another part of tonight's discussion, we had a meeting at Idaho Falls last week, and that was one of the shortcomings that they recognized that the state legislature did not recognize when they sent this money to us, that it was probably very short in trying to reward those employees who work in the schools.
yeah.
And our custodians, obviously that work year-round, we got full amount for them.
Gotcha.
Because they work the 2,080, 52 weeks times, 40.
But we have bus drivers that don't get that many hours, don't we?
And the same thing with the bus
Correct.
drivers.
Yep.
So we have bus drivers, parapros, food service, every one of those folks. Now, food service, they work just about 6 hours a day, but they're going to be just about 0.5 FTE with the state, just because of the way the number of hours they work divided by 2080 gives you the FTE that the state is going to fund. And so when we consider all these what we consider full-time employees, and the shortfall that the state's not sending us because of the way they calculate FTEs, we want to make up the difference.
Yeah,
And that's where
understand.
that $250,000 comes from.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then if someone is a legitimately part-time, do you have,
Yeah, then,
yeah,
now,
they are not.
Now, for instance, and I had this in the memo as well, but we'll do the quick version here. We recently paid in November, this longevity stipend, not long, extra duty, we call it extra duty COVID stipend. For all the staff, based upon their FTE, we paid some people $1,000. Some of them got half of that because they're half an FTE or 3/4 FTE got 75% of that. We did the same thing with the classified staff. However, we banded them based upon their number of hours they work per day.
Gotcha.
And so they range from about $333 or a third to half, 3/4, and to full. So we banded it, and we're going to do that same sort of logic for this payment as well.
So essentially, 100%, if we approve this, 100% will get something.
They will.
Okay.
So maybe even taking that one more step, now that you've had that formula explained very well by Mr. Smart, that comparison could also be made when we look at state insurance plan. And so similarly, it was funded on FTE or full-time equivalencies.
That's correct.
And so there's going to be a difference or a shortfall there as well. And so that's why we're really looking closely at that plan. And we can bring forward the best recommendation possible.
Because that's not a one-time thing. This is a one-time thing. What you're talking about could potentially be.
So the buy-in.
Correct.
The buy-in is a one-time thing, right?
Yeah, the buy is a one-time.
But I thought the state was gonna cover the buy-in. I thought the state was covering the buy-in.
Yes, but not all the way.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
So they funded it
Okay.
in a very similar way.
I see.
So they're still short.
So they're not sending districts enough, so
Yeah.
districts would have to make up the difference on the state insurance.
Now,
I see.
one thing we have to make clear on the state insurance plan, they're only funding the plan and the buy-in for those employees who fall under the salary-based apportionment. So that's general fund employees. And if they're paid out of now I talked about our IC, how many hours they work from in their funding source. Many employees are paid from school lunch fund. Many employees are paid from the Title I or special ed funds. Those FTEs are not paid or refunded by the state for through this program they have. The districts have to come up with that money either through the excess money that might come through that funding or through those special funds. And that's the big dilemma that districts are facing right now. How are they coming up and funding that shortfall?
I see.
And we'll have that discussion in much more detail one of these days, because we have all the detail that we need, so we're trying to put it together in a form that makes sense to us and everybody else. So there are some oddities, and the big one is they're not funding only salary-based apportionment of FTEs. But we digress.
Well, it's under kind of that legislative update.
Yeah.
So I feel
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Correct.
Still
We went there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I only have one more, and you could probably stay.
Oh,
I don't, is he next? I don't know, yeah. The last one that I had is the reinstatement of driver's education. As I understand it, that it's been about 2 or 3 years that their school district has offered a driver's education program. First year was probably for COVID. Last year, we just could not staff that. However, if you do approve this full-day kindergarten program this evening, that is going to have a consequence with the bus drivers, as we've talked about before. And part of remedy for a few of these bus drivers is that they can pick up the additional hours to keep them full-time by being our driver's ed instructors. And so we have 3 that went through this long course a few years ago, that they would just take a refresher course this summer. And so we could offer a limited size, I believe it's right around 12, I believe, per class, limited size this fall to kind of to keep it going. And then through the fall, that would allow us to certify or to take this 4-credit college level course for some other teachers, so that basically in the spring, or for sure by next fall, offer a more robust class up to 36 per class there.
Okay.
Again, you can see the rates there. As I understand it, our transportation department still gets calls on these, hey, can we offer, because it is at a cost savings compared to with a private. But
Yeah,
yet
we
that,
fell in that, not being able to take the schools. So my question is, it the schools' cars? Whose cars are being?
so it is the school district's cars.
Okay.
Yep, and they're all, their safety, they have the passenger size brake, it's all legal, certified. It will be put on with our insurance and so forth. So these cars will, but they are our cars at the school district. And so our recommendation is to reinstate the driver's ed program starting effective September 2022.
Okay. Perfect.
I think that's all I have for now.
I had to learn on one of those automated box. We didn't have cars. We had little TVs.
Okay, sorry, next on the agenda is Employee Services, Carl Smart, Infinite Campus in Wellness.
Yeah, Brenda told me I had to hurry, so I'm going to hurry.
I'm telling you to.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Item A, Infinite Campus IC Technology Department. I went back and talked with the folks in technology today, and I said, what do you want me to share? And they said, well, we're just getting ready for summer. And so they're doing all the preparation for their summer work. But they did want you to know that their wireless project is done. So they've replaced the wireless in all the schools. They have some onesie-twosie sort of things like the gyms at Hawthorne and Alameda, and they'll still need to be resolved. But that means they have to get a scissor lift in there to get up to the ceiling. But anyway, they are done, and they're very happy about that. This kind of relates to what Lori mentioned earlier about the kindergarten. Talking with Mike, you know, as we prepared calendars for next year in Infinite Campus, we anticipated that the kindergarten classes are going to be like they are this year. If we go full-time, we need to resolve some calendar issues, that sort of thing, through Infinite Campus. So they'll be working on those once we have a direction and know where we are going to go with the kindergarten classes. And that's no small feat. So they will work closely, I mean, they meaning the technology folks, Mike in particular, work with Lori and her folks to make sure that all is taken care of. So we get the appropriate ADA next year. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if the state legislature has even decided how they're going to, or the State Department of Ed is going to account that additional FTE, or because now we're going to get a full-time ADA for instead of a half-time for each one of those kindergarten kids. And I've never heard anything stated about how that's going to be handled. So we'll see how that all transpires. And of course, we're talking about the literacy funding, and a big portion of that has to do with the free and reduced application. So I shouldn't say we because I'm not having any part of that, but School Lunch is busy getting those applications and putting them in Infinite Campus. So as we have to report that free and reduced information in the upcoming IC upload in May and June. So it's very important we get all that information in. What's sad is we can't use this same data that's coming in for this literacy funding for next fall. We're going to have to ask our parents to do the same thing in the fall for free and reduced privileges next school year. So that's kind of the life of Infinite Campus and IC right now. So as our wellness dashboard report, you saw that in your packet tonight. Too bad we didn't have a month looking like this 2 months ago, and last month our renewal with our insurance might have been a very different story. We'll get into those details another night. But it looked very good for this particular month, March, and however, we do have our renewal information, and we will be sharing that with you one of these upcoming meetings. And it's what I can tell you is our policy, our insurance renewal is very similar to what others are receiving based upon more than likely the COVID issues we're seeing around the country in the way of health care and hospitalization costs. So we're not alone. So but you do have that information in front of you. And if you have any questions or comments or clarifications, I can certainly try to help that out. Answer those.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda is Human Resources, Brenda Miner.
You better make yours quick too.
I just wanted him to be quick because I have good news, so that's exciting. So first tonight, I don't want to get out of order to tell you that good news, so I'll start with the hiring. So where we're at with hiring, which is we have a part-time kindergarten at Chubbuck. We have one full-time kindergarten at Tendoy. We have a couple first grades left to hire and a fourth grade. And then we are opening a new K-1 extended resource room, classroom this year. And so we had high numbers coming out of the Lincoln Center. And so we are adding a K-1 classroom, and that will be at Ellis. And I know that they're doing interviews for that position, that teacher position this week as well. As far as in our middle schools, we have a band, a math, we have a couple counselor positions, one at Franklin and one at Irving. This kind of goes along with the post-legislative, so I'm going to use your wording that I'm not taking something off of the agenda that's coming up, but counselors now will have the opportunity to hire a little bit of a different licensure for counselors, where in the past we've had to hire counselors with a school counseling component, and now with through the legislature this year that we can hire what's considered, it's called an LPC, a licensed counselor, or a clinical licensed counselor. And so if we run into that issue as far as hiring, we have a little bit more leeway than we have had in the past. Luckily, though, we've hired 3 counselors so far, and there's still qualified candidates for those other 2 middle school positions. But that's just kind of a highlight, and we can touch base on that a little bit on that post-legislative update if you have any questions regarding the counseling component. Also, at the high school level, we have 2 English positions, and a choir, and 1 math. And then a part-time for our CTE law enforcement program, and 1 other math program at Pocatello High School. So those are our openings right now currently in the certified. Also tomorrow for classified, I'll be attending a job fair at the Department of Labor, and I'm hopeful that we can fill some of those positions as well.
Okay, I have a quick question.
You bet.
I don't have any idea how this works. So I know we're going to be needing 2 new principals, right? How does that work?
Great question. So our principal interviews, so for Irving Middle School will be on Thursday, and for Chubbuck Elementary will be on Friday. And those 2 directors have put together committees which have parent input, other staff members, and other principals, and then the respective directors will be there as well. And then just kind of like in the teacher world, there's different levels. Like if a current administrator wants to apply for a different administrative position, one of those 2 openings, they will be the first round of interviews. And then the next round of interviews would be, if they don't find someone in that round, that they would go with people who are in district, who maybe have not had an administrative placement prior, but have their administrative certification. So we're trying to kind of move through those in the sense that it's a little bit of a domino effect, right? And so we want to make sure that we have those taken care of and everyone feels comfortable prior to summer. Right. That's a good question. Thank you.
Do you require them to have their administrative degree, or do you do someone in process?
Currently, we have some amazing candidates in our district who have finished the program, and we have not had much of an administrative turnover. And so there is quite a list when that really right. As soon as those jobs were open, they started to really fill those applications out pretty quickly.
Great. Very good.
Questions with hiring? Okay, now the exciting news from ISU. Last Wednesday, I won't say how many years I've been in the district and as far as highlights, but I would say last Wednesday was a true highlight in my career as far as being able to offer the opportunity for our paraprofessionals to have the chance to become a teacher. We have such talented paraprofessionals in our schools, and for the opportunity that ISU is providing, I went and met with the dean in late February, and everything that has transpired since then is amazing. We had over 50 paras last Wednesday at the initial meeting. And ISU has decided to contribute from the Albion money, which is teacher money that goes in when they take classes, over $1 million for our paras to start these programs. So depending how many decide to start in the program, they even feel that there'll be the opportunity for full tuition.
Wow.
So it's pretty exciting. So our next meeting, principals are meeting with their paras from that meeting, and they'll get a count to me by Thursday. I'll meet with ISU on Thursday to go over any questions, because again, it's a work in progress, right? And so there's some questions as far as what will that student teaching look like? What will our intern hours look like? Will we be able to continue working as we do our student teaching, and all of those types of things? But ISU has jumped right in. They even have paid for the application just to even sign up to be at ISU. I received a really great email today from the admissions office that they're going to have multiple people there on the 27th is that next week? Right, next week, next Wednesday, and we will meet with them and have different rooms where if you can start with 0 credits all the way up to some people who've already had their associate's degree, and different things just happen in their life that they haven't been able to start or complete their degree. And so we'll have different tracks, and they can do part-time or full-time. It just seems another really fabulous thing that came up last week that I was surprised right along with them is there was a few people that were there that have bachelor's degrees in other areas other than education, and they had not mentioned it till then that they're willing to help them pay for their master's in their Masters of Arts of Teaching program.
Wow.
So that was, I think, 11% when we did a little survey there of who had bachelor's degrees, and they were, I think, coming just thinking they would get another bachelor's degree, and so that is another great opportunity. And like I say, I can't thank ISU enough for working in this partnership and kind of making this kind of a vision become a reality. So we'll keep you posted.
Very cool.
And then the last thing is just a letter that's in your packet that just says that that we will open negotiations on May 2nd. It's a letter from the PEA. And I'm really hopeful that we'll have negotiations sooner than we did last year, early May. That's a really good sign and a really good working relationship. And we will be giving more information as we go along. Any questions? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Brenda. Appreciate it.
How involved are we in that process?
No. You're not.
That, it
We're
just
not.
comes after they've done, then,
No,
so,
we'll bring you in up front
Right.
and talk about budget-related items and kind of some anticipations from what we think the PEA may share
Mhm.
as they talk with Brenda or Jonathan or Carl. And then, again, what the budget would allow, what the board may be willing to do. And so there's a lot of authorizations
Mhm.
based upon recommendations, but certainly the board tells us.
But we don't have to.
but we don't
No,
have to
no,
listen, I mean,
no.
not that I guess it could be
Yeah,
interesting
you
to
can.
fly on the wall,
I
but,
know.
you know, how involved is that?
So
Does that
we
involve us?
invite, the district's legal counsel is our lead for the team, and then Jonathan, our business office team, that group back there, is at the table with all the institutional knowledge, and then in caucus, they provide a great deal of information. They're on the phone with me regularly.
Mhm.
But we can attend. You can go.
Yeah,
Oh.
you can observe.
One
Well,
or-
only one or two of us, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Preferably.
Yeah.
I just was
Yeah.
interested, it was just interesting the way she worded that, we're going to open, I just
Yeah.
thought that was an interesting, I didn't,
It has to be held in open session, an open meeting, that's by law.
Mhm.
So anybody can come and watch or listen. They will not participate.
the attendees, right?
But they will, it is an open meeting, and it has to be declared as an open meeting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
I mean, I guess if you can share when the meetings are scheduled, maybe just to be a fly on a wall would be interesting
You
for
bet.
my own benefit, to see how that goes. Okay.
Okay, well, next on the agenda then is the superintendent report, presented by Superintendent Howe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I should have been using this microphone all night. It's kind of working, I think.
It's working.
Okay, so I'm going to pick it up with the calendar and mention a couple of things already, but I may highlight those in the review here. So next week, we have the Law Institute. I think we just have a couple of our staff members attending because of some conflicts for the board. So there will be future opportunities for the board to attend, certainly. And then we see also on Tuesday, Instructional Technology Committee meeting. And then next Wednesday, we would have our key communicators group. Also, as I may mention, with the opening of negotiations, if the board accepts that tonight, then we will respond with a letter saying we'll move forward. And so we would need to visit on that, as well as the special meeting to update you on the capital improvement budget plan. And then, let's see, student discipline hearings next Wednesday night. As I mentioned, I anticipate that would be a couple hours. And so we'll need to confirm at least 4 of you to get that started. And then on Thursday, April 28th, we see District Curriculum Committee. I believe Mr. Orr sent an email today. Is that right, Mrs. Craney? And I think he may cancel that meeting because he doesn't have any agenda items.
Okay.
So look for a potential cancellation on that 28th meeting. And then May 3rd, we didn't get it on the calendar because we don't have any assignments made yet, but that's the first Tuesday. So rather than doing those department visits, which we had to do initially to get your feet wet, we would like to get you into some schools on Tuesday morning. And Ms. Johnson will be putting a calendar together and we'll get you assigned to a school. And then one of the directors and myself will take you out, we'll visit with the principal, talk about some goals and achievements and accomplishments, and then have a little bit of an opportunity to visit a few classrooms. And then May 4th, let's see, what do we have? Board training that afternoon, 2:30 to 4:30. And then again, sometime that week, I anticipate another executive session, possibly 2. If we get far enough along, we could end up having a ratification meeting once the PEA has their ratification meeting, as well as just providing you an update as we're moving through that process. On May 10th, Judge Murray's Community Prevention Committee, and then also board work session on the 10th. We'll be talking to you more in depth, as Mr. Smartman mentioned earlier, about wellness insurance, and from the committee work as well as the work that we've been doing administratively. I don't know if we'll have a recommendation for you, but we may. And we'll be, again, working through wellness insurance. And truly, this falls a little bit underneath the salaries and benefits negotiations with our union, our educator union. So we'll see how all of that plays out here in the next few weeks. Again, especially with our knowledge, we're learning every day more about the insurance plan from the state. Let's see, student discipline hearing scheduled potentially for May 11th. Then on the 12th, again, District Curriculum Committee, we'll see how that one goes. May 17th, regular board meeting. Thursday, May 19th, this one was not in your packet, but we'll make sure you get a notice if you didn't receive one today. That will be Chuck, Lori, and Gretchen Kinghorn's retirement reception on 17th. I think that's from 3:30 to 5. And then May 25th, key communicators again. Occasionally, depending on schedules, we may have to cancel that one. We'll see how it goes and how much information we have to share. May 30th is Memorial Day. And then June 1st will be New Horizon graduation, 6 p.m. at the Wellness Complex. We'll make sure you get an invite to that one. We'll hope for the best of weather.
Yeah.
Last time was really good,
Yep.
but you never know how that end of May, first part of June is going to go. And then on Thursday, June 2nd, we have it for all day, but typically we have the board meet at 11:30 in the Banyan Room. And then we head down for the first graduation ceremony. Maybe Highland first? I never remember the order.
Yes.
But we have the 12, 3, and 6 start times, and we'll have some food for you throughout the day. If you can attend all, that would be fabulous. And again, we'll just take turns handing out diplomas, and shaking hands, and just enjoying the festivities. Okay, that is the calendar. I did not attend the post-legislative tour this year. I had a couple other commitments, so I sent my all-star team. And they are, I think Jonathan's going to just Oh, he's looking kind of bad over there, but I know he's going to just share a summary with you. He and I visited a little bit about some highlights that I think are important to share, but he certainly has that firsthand knowledge, so I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan.
Thanks. Again, this was the annual event after the legislative concludes. The key people from the State Department come and talk to us about IDAPA rules, content standards, mastery education, certification, federal programs, and then of course finance. And that's kind of where we kind of get a good summary of what was passed through there. So again, education did really well this past legislative session. We'd like to thank our legislators and even in you that went up and visited with them in a day on the Hill in February. We sure appreciate that. So again, just in brief, Superintendent Ibarra was there, and she does a little welcome, and then she basically turns it over to her staff to update us there. One thing, and again, just to highlight, one of the big things that happened is the legislator passed that our funding would be based on membership, on enrollment, rather than attendance. And there were two bills. One was the law to move it from attendance to membership, and the other one was to fund it. And we're pretty sure for some political movement, the governor actually vetoed the law part to move it from attendance to enrollment, but then signed the funding part of it. What that does is I'm not going to guess. I don't know. I haven't talked to the governor myself. What we know for sure is now, since he vetoed it, now the state board can create a temporary rule, which is going to happen Thursday, and we were guaranteed that it will actually happen, that they're going to put us back to enrollment for next year.
Oh, good.
Because the funding's already there. Superintendent Howell actually came up with the idea, we think it was.
It's all speculation.
Okay.
Well, do you want to speculate out of your own? Basically, he did not like that the legislator was governing this. He thought it needed to be at the state board level. So by vetoing it, he said, no, you don't, legislator, you don't get to, discuss this.
Well, that
It needs
may
to
be
be at the
smart.
state board. Correct. Because again, he funded it, but then funded funded a law that doesn't exist. So, but now with the temporary rule, we'll have funding. And we're told at this legislative session to budget on membership for next year.
But it's only next year. I mean, it's.
It is temporary,
It's all
So
so
it'll be a year-to-year thing then, probably.
probably, or we'll see what happens.
Maybe next year, though.
Yeah, we'll see what
So
happens next year.
prior to COVID too, you may recall that they were
They did
working
that.
on some different funding formulas, and they were being proposed.
You better come up here.
And there was some controversy about those different models, and so I wonder too if this will give them a year to work through
Oh,
those
yeah.
other models and see which one gains momentum and may come forward. So that's another part of her piece to the puzzle, I think.
Well, the not the attendance, but, the registration really only makes sense because you still have to hire everybody, whether
The
there's
enrollment,
kids
yeah.
going or not,
Yeah.
enrollment.
Exactly, buses run, the lights are on.
Teachers are there.
Yeah, for the number that we have.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it only makes sense.
Just a couple issues that came up regarding HR. One of them was the counselors that I told you about, and then also our nurses, our pupil personnel as well. And so like for teachers, they need 6 credits in 5 years, and they took that guideline away for nurses, that they don't have to have the 6 credits. Again, what I really hope that they will look at doing is, again, looking at those years of experience. We've talked with our legislatures about that every year and how important that is, that we look at being able to give experience. But for now, they're saying that they don't have to have the credit renewal as long as they have a valid RN license. And then like I say, we talked about the counselors. And then the other thing is, usually if someone is on an alternate certification like ABCTE or one of those programs, we have to renew their certification every year. And so that costs them every year, and then also the paperwork that goes along with it. And now they're saying that they will give them an interim license for the 3 years, which works really well because we have some coaches who have worked really well with making sure that the guidelines that we have in place for the district that no longer are there for the state are on that same 3-year kind of timeline, so it will work out perfectly. One of the issues that used to be the case is sometimes someone could be moving to their 4th year of teaching and not have their certification. They would just be on an interim certification, which was kind of an interesting concept. So I'm glad that that's been taken care of. And then the next item that was talked about, you've probably heard a lot in the legislators this past session regarding dyslexia. And so they gave us, just to kind of give you just a little bit of the guidelines that we heard, is that there's more to come, I think is probably the main thing. When they showed us the state website, they have 6 circles that have different components, and the dyslexia one right now is empty, but that's where all the information will turn up, right, for us to know. But the good thing that we do know is at least it kind of gives us a year to prepare. We thought that it would have to be in place by next year, but it's actually the year after. And they have different guidelines. For example, it starts out with the kindergarten through 5th grade teachers who will start the training, and they're being able to use some of the things, for example, in our K3 that we'll still use the IRI. The 4th and 5th grade will still use some of the accepted, what would you call them, starter tests that they do at the first of the year, you know what I mean, just to look at the screeners. And so we'll start to look at that information. There'll be training, and they will have an approved list of the trainings that school districts will be able to take, and that everyone will have to have. It's a 1-credit course that will qualify them under this dyslexia model.
So my understanding is there's no funding for this either. I mean, they made this requirement. Is that correct? And so how is this, is it a 1-credit? I mean, how does that?
One of the things they talk about is some of the programs that all teachers have to have a literacy component for their certification, and thinking that some of that will be able to qualify as well. They really haven't been super specific on what that 1-credit course will entail, but said they'll have a resources list available that we'll be able to look at. So I'm not.
Is that something that the school district pays for, or is that the individual pays for that, their training? And
typically, that's something the individual pays for, but we would try to set it up with ISU through their program where we receive it at a reduced rate. But now, yes, so I believe it's K-8 and all administrators by 2026. Is that
correct? Administrators, counselors, we're on that list as well.
Interesting.
And so, and some have to take a more in-depth approach to an overview, and others not quite as in-depth, and we're not quite sure what that looks like yet, but just knowing that that legislation is there.
So by way of our contract, I'll just add for the board members to, as a reminder or new information, that the district pays for 2 credits every 5 years of recertification, up to, it's not a big number, but it's $90. So typically these credits that we get through, it's 30. Well, there you go. So we got one more. Well, we're taking one away because we're saying you have to take this one now. So, right, okay. And yeah, so we used to call them BRRS credits. I don't know what they're called nowadays, but.
Actually, the interesting part about that is a lot of it, the money that comes in through that Albion that I talked about as far as ISU giving that $1 million is actually through teachers paying the $55 or $60 for a credit into that program. So I mean, it's kind of comes back around. So I'm hopeful that maybe we can do that. Maybe we can do that with this credit when it becomes available, of what the options are. I'm hopeful.
So they can apply for that reimbursement.
I see. One other, I remember during the legislative session, when there was a question about people who come from out of state with other experience, and does that qualify them? Did that ever get, or they could get the credit for it? Maybe,
you know, they really didn't talk about that on the legislative tour that we were on as far as that component, but I'm hopeful that that'll all be part of these upcoming resources. And so again, like I say, we're fortunate that without having all these resources right now, that we have an extra year to be able to get all of those things put in place.
I think that one did pass, as I recall.
Oh, did it?
Oh,
I think so.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep track of them all.
I know.
Okay. Now, then just to wrap up real quick, the entire afternoon was devoted to finance. And I forgot to mention, this is up in Idaho Falls, so Region 5-6, full of business managers and human resource directors, even, anyway, there was a lot of people there. So again, we heard of all the finance, and again, education did really well. Even to filling some holes that were created the year before. Just in the recap, we heard last year at this time that we were basically told you must budget conservatively because there was a law in the books for this year that the finance department could not tap into the Public Education Stabilization Fund, which is called PSIF. And they've done every year before, but because we think of because of the abundance of federal dollars, they said, no, we just can't do that. They always have to do that just because they don't know how many kids are going to move into the state for units and so forth. However, this legislative session, they were actually able to submit some supplementary bills to help close that budget gap because, again, they had to submit their budget 18 months before the school year started. And so what that means is that, again, we're in a good place regarding our budget. And they continued on there. Again, they put good increases to the bases for admin, for teachers, for classified staff. And again, that's where negotiations, we first identify that for the teacher staff, and that's where the negotiation comes in there. There's also a good amount in this unit funding. It went up over $6,000 per unit, which is a nice amount, which will be used for insurance, with insurance increases there, whichever way we decide to go there. So again, it was very good that way. And so all this kind of starts, well, it doesn't start, it basically concretes some things into our budgeting process. Again, Carl and I and the rest of the staff are well into the budgeting process, and now we have those firm numbers, and then negotiations help firm it up even more. And so we'll bring those to you over the next 2 months leading up to our budget hearing on June 21st. But again, before that time, you'll be very familiar with the budget, answer all your questions, and so forth. So for the next 2 months, we'll be talking about budgets. But that post-legislative tour really kind of put some key figures in place. So again, thanks to our legislators and for everyone. Again, it was a great tour there. And again, Carl, there was a seat there, but he didn't want to come. I will tell Carl, again, we're in this huge group, and he asked one question, and it was such a good question that the whole room was abuzz in the answer and talking about the question that Carl asked. I can't even remember what it was. But
it was on that, same as with you, it was on that $1,000 and not being funded for the full $1,000 for everyone. I think it was kind of a rude awakening to some people who hadn't realized that yet, that they were going to be shorted a little bit.
So, anyway, it was always a good time. So.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is public written comment to the agenda. I don't see any, so we'll move on. We'll now move on to action items. The first item on the business is to adopt the K-5 Mystery Science Program and High School Inspire Physical Science Textbook. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board adopt the K-5 Mystery Science Program and the High School Inspire Physical Science.
Is there a second? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. As presented.
Okay. Sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passed. I forgot discussion. Next on his item is of business is to approve the Head Start non-federal share waiver request for the 2021-2022 school year. Is there a motion?
I move to make a motion to approve the Head Start non-federal share waiver request for the 2021-2022 school year.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Next on the item is to approve the all-day kindergarten program for the 2022-2023 school year. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the all-day kindergarten program district-wide and accommodate a part-day option as needed for the 2022-2023 school year as presented.
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I don't see any. That motion passed. Next on the agenda is to approve the early graduation request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the early graduation request as presented.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the item of business is to approve the out-of-state, which is not overnight, or out-of-state travel request. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the motion, right? Is that how I say it? For the
Is there a second?
out-of-state travel request.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't see any. That motion passed. Next on the item of business to approve the camp request. Is there a motion?
Hereby move that the board approve the camp requests as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't see any. That motion passed. Next on the agenda is to award bids with the exception of the exhaust system upgrade. I would entertain a motion to approve the following bids.
I hereby,
Okay, go ahead.
I hereby move the board approve the following bids as presented. Lighting, roofing, telescopic bleachers, and the track removal at AMS.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I don't see any. That motion passed. Next on the business, next item on the business is to approve the purchase of Skyward Incorporated a cumulative business management software.
Just sound that out.
Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the purchase of Skyward Inc. cumulative business management software as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There, motion passed. Next on the item of business is to grant permission to operate the food service summer program, park program. Is there a motion?
I hereby move to grant permission to operate food service summer park program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passed. Is next on the item of business is to authorize the state premium payment and the use of general funds to cover the additional cost of premium beyond the state reimbursement. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board authorize the premium payments and the use of $246,000 out of the general fund to cover the additional cost of premium payments beyond the state reimbursement as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Next on the item of business is the reinstatement of the driver's education program. Is there a motion?
I hereby move the board reinstate the district's driver education program effective September 2022 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't see any. That motion passed. The final item of business is to accept the request for the Pocatello Education Association to open negotiations for the 2022-2023 school year. Is there a motion?
I hereby move to accept the request from the Pocatello Education Association to open negotiations for the 2022-2023 school year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. That includes this meeting. This meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
A second?
Second.
And all in favor?